Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Tim Burton style character series. This is David Ward. And when I last left you in part 2, we had pretty well gotten the styling of the head down. Now that I'm looking at it, I wouldn't mind bringing the nose and mouth up just a little bit. Maybe let's go ahead and deselect that there, so we're not scrunching the eye socket too much. There we go. I like that a little bit better. Okay. Now that we've got the general head shape done, I want to go inside the mouth and go ahead and create the inside the mouth, the tongue, and the teeth and everything. So, let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn off our mirror for right now. And we're going to come here and, I can't recall when I made part 2 if I told you, when you hit 1 on your numpad, it goes to front view. And you hit 7, it goes to top view. 3 goes to, I guess would be stage left, the character's left side. As the audience, it'll be on our right side, but we'll go by stage direction, stage left. And then if you hold control, it does the opposite. So 1 hit goes to the front, control 1 goes to the back, 7 goes to the top, control 7 to the bottom, 3 to stage left, control 3 to stage right. So we want to go to stage right. And while I'm at it, let me go and turn on my screencast keys there. Okay, now let's tab into edit mode and select the loop there inside the mouth. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and start extruding that back. Maybe scale it up just a little bit, and a couple more times. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and close this off. So let's go ahead and grab these edges here, the edge select mode. Select these two, go ahead and hit F to create a face, these two to create a face, and now we can see that we need to cut these lines here twice. So let's just get the edge selects, select those guys, W, subdivide with 2 cuts, and then we can grab these guys and move them up a little bit, and then we can square it off like so. There we go. Okay, now this is a little too square back here. As you know, the inside of your mouth is not very square, so let's select those. Go ahead and go to vertex select, and we're going to go W smooth. Smooth that up quite a bit. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and create the tongue, I guess. Go ahead and grab those 2 faces there. Control 3 to the stage right again. Just go ahead and start extruding up. And you can see that while we're extruding, it's attaching a face here on the side, and that's because we have our mirror turned off right now. When we turn that back on, we'll need to go in there and delete those faces, or we can do it before we turn it back on. In any case, we need to delete those faces at some point. But for right now, we'll go ahead and keep going with the tongue until we get it about the way we want. So about right there. And let's go ahead and curve it around there on the side. Select those edges and drag them back. Decrease our fall off on the proportional editing. Okay, and then maybe select the whole front there, scale it down a little bit. Maybe rotate it a little. There we go. And I'd also like to make the middle part of the tongue go down a little bit. The crease in the middle of your tongue. Be a little more prominent there. Okay, now we can go in and go ahead and delete these sides here. Delete the faces. There we are. And when we turn back on the mirror, we can get a better idea. If we go to wireframe view, we can see that we need to go ahead and line those up a little bit better again. So we'll tab back into edit mode. Actually, we were into edit mode already. So just select the loop around the edge there. And let's go to our front view and turn off our proportional editing, disable that. And if we hit SX0, it's going to scale them 0% on the x-axis, and then we can just move them around until they glue together there in the center. And now we can see we need to make the crease in the tongue a little bit more prominent. Go ahead and grab those and drag them towards it yet again. Okay, and I think the inside of the mouth should be all set now. Now, if you wanted to go through and make the throat a little further, you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and make the throat go back just a little bit. Maybe one more. We want to actually create the whole throat, just far enough back, and then maybe we'll create the little uvula, the little hangy ball thing there in the back of the throat. That way, if we open the mouth real wide, like he's screaming or something, we'll have that little piece there to be comical. Okay, so let's select that loop. And maybe that loop, round it off. It's a little too wide right now. Tell you what also we can do while we're in edit mode to make things a little easier to visualize. Right now on the left side I'm seeing the smoothed version, but on the right side we're still seeing the squared version. The low polygon version, as it were. So if we turn on the apply modifier to editing page during edit mode, go ahead and click that, it's going to apply it to both sides, so we can kind of see what we're doing on both sides. But then if you want it rounded and curved on both sides too, go ahead and do the same thing down here on the subsurf modifier, and then boom, we're nice and smooth now. Now you can kind of see what it's going to look like. Now I drug it too close together, so a couple more of those vertices stuck, so we don't want that. Okay, so that's a decent looking uvula, I guess. Okay, so now let's go and make it a little taller, the inside of the mouth here. Go select these two edges here. Go and turn on proportional editing again. Connected. Scale it on the x-axis a little bit. Increase our fall off some. And maybe we'll rotate it around. Let's get it a little more rounded there at the top. And deselect all the bottom. Let's select these two guys there. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this while I'm at it. Save. Okay, so now we got the inside of the mouth ready for the teeth. Let's go ahead and create the teeth and gums themselves. Let's do that on a different layer, though. So we'll go ahead and click over here. And I'm going to put my 3D cursor in the center of the screen, or the scene. Shift S, cursor to center. There we go. Pops it right there in the middle. Okay, now, the way I'm going to do the teeth here is I'm going to create a half of a tooth, and then I'm going to use the mirror modifier to make it a whole tooth, and then we'll use the array and another mirror modifier to get this looking the way we want. So, let's go ahead and Shift A. We're going to add a cube. Tab in edit mode, you can zoom out if you like, scale it way down, zoom back in here, and we're going to W subdivide 3 times. There we go. Go ahead and delete this half over here, vertices, there we go, and let's go to our side view. Since we're zoomed out, it zoomed us in way over here when we went to side view. So if you select part of your mesh and hit the period button on your numpad, it'll zoom in on that particular selection. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of these faces here. These 4 at the top of the side, and then the 4 at the very top also. Go and delete those. Okay, now we're going to select everything, scale it on the y-axis, and you know what, we can go ahead and delete these as well. Those won't be visible. Okay. So now, grab these guys, go to our front view, and let's scale them out just a little bit. And then, tell you what, let's go ahead and add our mirror modifier. There we go. And let's make sure we're centered up here in the middle. Go ahead and turn on clipping. There we go. Scale that down a little bit. So this, as you can see, this is kind of starting to take the shape of a tooth. Now, this being a cartoon character, we're not gonna mess with having molars and bicuspids and cuspids and all that stuff. It's basically just going to be all the same shape, just so there's something there in his mouth when he smiles or opens his mouth or whatever. So grab the edge there and just kind of round it off like so. And we want to make sure these edges here are nice and flat, so we're going to scale those on the 0% on the x-axis. Now we can curve these off, like so. Drag them up just a little bit. Maybe round it down just a little bit more. There we go. And let's go ahead and grab the top here, drag that up. Okay, so now we got the general tooth shape done. Well, not done yet. Let's go ahead and round it out towards the outside, kind of like that. There we go. And we'll go ahead and give it smooth shading. And go ahead and give it subdivision surface. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and add a section of gums above it as well. We'll go ahead and... Tell you what, let's just go ahead and select the whole tooth, Shift D, and then drag it up. And then we're going to go to our side view, scale it on the Y-axis, and get it a little thicker. Now, we don't need as many edges and loops here, so let's select this loop here, hit X, and delete the edge loop. And we don't need this guy, so same thing, or this guy, same thing. Okay, so now we can actually go ahead and get rid of these faces here too. There we go. And I guess we can get rid of these faces too. So whereas the teeth need to be separate from each other for the most part, the gums will all be connected, so they don't need any separation on the sides at all. Like the teeth have this down here to separate them. The gums don't need any of that. So we have one face selected on the gums. Hit Control L to select the whole shebang. Let's scale it down a little bit, move it over. And let's go ahead and select this whole loop here and scale that 0% on the... Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and disable our fall off. There we go. I said disable. There we go. Sometimes it doesn't obey. Okay, so let's line that up perfectly with the edges of the teeth right there. Zoom in as close as we need to go. Get that lined up. And then we'll grab the middle part of the gums, not the top ones though. Drag that up. And we'll go ahead and turn our fall off back on. Oi, it wouldn't turn off before, now it won't turn on. Behave, you. Go ahead and drag this up as well. Okay, Control L. Now drag everything back down on top of the tooth. Maybe a little further. Okay, and let's kind of fatten this part up just a little bit. And then we'll grab this one, narrow this one down some. Okay, so now we have essentially a section of tooth. So if we go ahead and apply the mirror now, there we go, and we go ahead and tab into edit mode, select everything and drag everything to the left side of the median point, which is that orange dot, the origin point. Let's go ahead and line that up perfectly on there if we can. There we go. Now we're going to add a mirror modifier again, and you can see we now have two teeth. And we're going to also add an array, but we're going to bump that up above the mirror so it doubles it on both sides. There we go. Not the subsurf. Oi, too many modifiers. There we go. And put the subsurf at the very bottom. Okay. And also there on the array, go ahead and turn on merge, and you can see that we now have 4 teeth from the 1 just using the mirror and the array. So let's add a few more. Let's give him, say, 10 teeth across the top, or maybe 12 teeth, a dozen teeth. Yeah, so now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then mirrored, so that's 10. One more. There we go. Now, I'd also like to have a bottom row of teeth, so let's go to our mirror section here, mirror settings, and turn on the Z-axis as well. However, since our teeth are, the median point of our teeth is right there, let's go ahead and turn, okay, clipping is turned off. Go ahead and tab into edit mode, and let's drag this up here to where they separate out like so. Okay. So now we have a top row of teeth and a bottom row of teeth. Let's go ahead and apply the array. Okay. So now this is all one model there, as you can see. Well, you know, a quarter of the model. But now I'm going to add a curve, so they curve around like as they should. So we're going to Shift S, cursor to selected, so it centers the cursor right there. Now we're going to go Shift A and add a curve. It's going to be a Bezier curve. And we'll tab into edit mode of that, grab the origin point there, Shift S, and selection to cursor, so it centers it up right there on the 3D cursor. And let's rotate it around to where it's straight there. Okay. Now we'll grab the end of it, rotate it around. Scale it down some. You can kind of get an idea what this is going to look like now. The teeth are going to follow this curve, so we need to make it a little smaller all around so that the teeth will fit it. Oops. Okay. So, before I go any further with that, though, sometimes when we're messing with this, the curve gets hard to see. Like, for right here, it's like, where's the curve at? I rotate around. Oh, there it is. But there's something we can do to make it visible at all times, and therefore easier to select. So go to your object settings, come down here and turn on X-ray, and now you can see it anywhere in the scene. So X-rays through all the meshes. Okay, so now we'll select our teeth, go to our modifiers, go and add a curve, and go and bump that up above subsurf, but still below the mirror. And the object is going to be the Bezier curve. Actually, I guess that needs to be above the mirror. So there we go. And you can see it rounds out nicely now. I'd like to round it a little bit more. And then obviously we need to adjust the tip here to where the mirror part still glues together there in the middle. So if we grab this handlebar over here and adjust it, keeping an eye on the mesh as it merges back. There we go. And we can go ahead and adjust this one. Actually, just select this whole piece and shrink it down some, and then we can have a little more control on. There we go. Okay. So now, tell you what, let me round it out a little bit like so. It's a little too oval shaped. I'd like it to be a little more circular. So about like so. And there we go. Well, I guess I need to adjust the handlebar yet again. So just play with that until it gets to where it needs to go. About like so. Good. Okay. So now we can apply the curve, and we can go and delete the actual Bezier curve if you like. Okay. And we will go ahead and apply the mirror as well. And one thing I want to do before we attach this to the rest of the head is, most of the time, the bottom teeth is a little bit smaller than the top teeth as far as the jawline goes. So we'll make that a little tiny bit smaller. So like, there we go. Okay, so now we're ready to attach this to the head. So we're just going to hit M, move it to the same layer that the head is on. There we go. And then we'll go to that layer right there. And if we go to our wireframe view, you can see we need where to move it into place. Go and scale it down to fit. Go to front view. And maybe scale it a little on the x-axis a little bit. Maybe a little further forward. Okay, I think that'll work. So let's go ahead and, actually, we applied the mirror, but we didn't really need to do that yet. We need, because the head also has a mirror modifier on it. So let's select this whole half here under face select. Make sure you get real careful. Get in here. All these faces on this side. And go ahead and delete those. Okay, so we just have the half again. So now when we hold down Shift and Control, or let's go back to solid. Well, deselect everything, grab the teeth, Shift select the head, and then we'll go Control J, and it'll join them together. So now you can see it doubled the teeth again. Okay, so now we can't really see the teeth, but if we do just a quick shape key to open the lips, we can see them. So if we go to the, well, if it'll do the pop-up, the object data here, it's not wanting to pop up. Everything else will. There we go. Object data. Oi. Go ahead and add a shape key. It's going to add the basis for all the other shape keys to go from. So we'll add one more. And we'll just call this one delete me mouth open. So we'll delete it after we're done. So now we'll go into edit mode, and select the lips and turn on. Okay, our fall off is turned on. Let's go ahead and increase it some. Select more than just that one face. Maybe it'll go a little better. Okay, and then the bottom as well. And then run that up. Yeah, we can see our teeth inside the mouth now. Since his mouth is closed, we probably can take the teeth. And the way we did this is the teeth look like they're all separate, but since we glued them together at that point, we can just select one face on one of the teeth and hit Control L, and you can see they're all attached. So that'll help out when we go do texture map as well. Okay, and then select one face on the gums as well. Control L. There we go. So let's move this up here to where his mouth is actually closed and the teeth are more clenched. Like so. Okay. So yeah. We now have an inside of his mouth. So, like I said, delete me. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and leave that for now. But go ahead and save this. And I think that's going to be it for part 3. And part 4, I think we'll probably continue on down the body and see how far we get there. So, it's going to be it for part 3. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in part 4.